still alive nonetheless. Looks like we're getting ready to go into qualifying, and very quickly done here. So, about 10 past 8. Trying to figure out if that is in fact sent. If that's actually gone into the chat, hopefully it has. Believe it has. Yeah, it has gone in. And, right, we're just waiting for a couple of people to get. Right, Dutch Grand Prix with 12 people is going to be fairly interesting. We'll see what actually turns out to happen here.
A member of the royal family, he also competed in the Olympic Games 4 times. The Prince was the only car driver who was competing in Formula 1 until Alex Albon in 2019. After years of speculation, the return of the Dutch Grand Prix was...
Alright, so 12 people now in the lobby. Let's see who's going to be able to do a good time. BR4 is here. Mitchell is here. Stell is not. So we'll figure out how everything is going to do it, to sort of shake out as we go along qualifying it. Just waiting for everyone to actually leave the pits. Alright, looks like we've got a couple of people out on the track. Let's go and follow them then. As we usually do, we'll watch the first out lap and the first flying lap of the person that gets out of the pits first. Today that is Adam Mildy. Which means he is he's going to be the one with a little bit of the spotlight on him so far. I have to open up a window so that way this doesn't end up just completely shutting off mid-race. Oh, looks like Mildy is actually parked up. So Staber's going to go on through, and we're actually going to go and watch Staber now then, considering Mildy's just trying to figure himself out right now. And we'll go from there. So Staber's going to be the first one through the final couple of corners onto the first lap of qualifying then, getting on the inside curb and now down towards turn 1. This is going to be good. We head down towards turn 1 now with Staber. Just going through the first couple of corners, keeping it nice and tight so far. Down into third gear as he goes through the banking here in the Netherlands. Turn 4, I believe that is. Now through turn 5 and 6. Someone trying to get out the way in the middle of the field there. I think that might have been BR4 getting out the way of Staber there as we go through into the middle sector now. We'll see what the benchmark is going to be from Staber here. Staber, usually, I said it before, it's one of those where it's usually go big or go home kind of drivers. It's usually the best lap you'll ever see, or something you would probably rather forget. Let's see what is going to be the case here. Staber having to fight through a little bit of traffic as well in this final sector to get himself going. A little bit of grass on the inside there on the final banking. He probably would hope for a better lap than the one he's currently done, I think, but it's a 1:09.6 nonetheless. Let's see what we can get to try and better this. Mildy 109.9. So not able to beat out his, not able to beat out Staber. Mitchell did a 110.5, sorry. Not a good lap there for the Ferrari whatsoever at the start of this one. 24.1 in the first sector for Aries. We're currently watching him. We've got a couple of drivers on their flying laps at this point in time. One of the Red Bulls about to come round the final corner. I think there's going to be Menlis has just started his flying lap. McLaren behind him was Bloodwave. He just started his flying lap as well. So we're going to be looking toward the Alfa Romeos to start off here. So 40.8 through 2 sectors here for Aries in the Mercedes. Starting to make a little bit of a push here. We're going through the final couple of corners here with Aries in the process, and Roller to the 109.634. Currently on pole, provisional pole until Aries puts on a 109.1 and takes that by over half a second. BL4 the next to the line, and there's your first 108 of the day. 108.7 there for BL4, and everyone's starting to bring that time down further and further as we go along. I think Mildy has just come into the pits, which means Menlis is going to be the next one to the line. You've got, I believe, Bloodwave after that. Yeah, it will be Bloodwave after that. So we'll watch the Red Bull to the line, then very quickly switch to the McLaren. And it's a 108.9 there for Menlis. The Bloodwave goes and gets a 108. Oh my god! A 108.712 is 1,000th behind BR4's qualifying time. You could not get any closer if you tried. Wow. Salu's the only one currently out there who's not done a, who might be on a lap.
4 years later, 1952.
We head to the line at 113.9 there for Alu. Realistically needs to put a better time down than that, as we now see all the guys starting to head back towards the pit lane. Not really much else we can see happening right now. I think Mitchell has just gone back out though in the Ferrari. Looks like we may have rain again in this race. Yeah. So we got everyone in the pit. Salu's currently out doing an in lap, and Mitchell on an out lap. Mildy just coming out as well. We'll see whether or not Mitchell's going to be able to improve on this 110.5 now. There realistically should be a large improvement coming here for Mitchell when he does his lap. Probably looking towards at least 1.5 seconds of an improvement, maybe even more if he can get it going. So we head round the final corner now with the Ferrari. He's got the spotlight on him now. It looks like he's going down toward turn 1, down into 4th gear, or down 3rd, and then immediately back up to 4th as he goes into turn 2 now. And through turn 3, keeps it together as he goes to the short end of the banking. Here in turn 4 at the Netherlands. Home race effectively here. Let's have a look, get the standings up as they continue on as well. In this we continue on in this qualifying session. Bear in mind, Australia was in fact cancelled over a bit of an issue that we had a couple of weeks ago. Then we had a race at Monza last week that kind of shifted a bunch of things in terms of the championship. We'll see if things are going to swing again after tonight. Stella is now in the lobby as well, so here comes some of the championship contenders just starting to make their way into the scene.
Legendary
Here comes Mitchell to the line. Can he do it? Can he get himself over the line in provisional pole? And he can! By less than a tenth of a second, but it's done it nonetheless. So that means we're now looking towards some of the other guys to see if they can put up a time, whether or not they can put something together that might be able to trouble the top of that grid. Honestly, if you can get yourself under a 108.5, you might be on pole position come the end of this race here. Or the end of this qualifying session. So wait and see how this is going to unfold. There's going to be rain later on, especially in the race, so we'll see whether or not things can change there. Staber, 108.8, up into fourth he goes. A pretty good lap in the end. Let's see what Aries is doing. He's currently up by 2 tenths. Should be enough to take him back above Staber, and it is. And he's less than half a tenth behind second and third. Just over a tenth shy of Mitchell, who's currently on provisional pole right now. Roller 109.4 is not a particularly impressive lap by any means. Benny is currently not up on his time either. We're currently trying to figure things out. People trying to sort themselves out, sort their order out essentially here. When it comes to the qualifying, getting themselves out of all the traffic and making sure that they keep rolling on. Stell to the line now. It's a 108.745. We have second through fifth split by 0.03 of a second. Absolutely insane from some of the drivers here today. Natsume's on a lap as well. Alu's currently the next one to the line though, so we'll go and take a quick look at what Alu's doing. He's currently up by about 3 seconds on his lap, so that would only be enough to take him to a 110. Still nowhere near where it should be. He goes to the line now. It's a 109.4, and that moves him up into 8th. That's a particularly impressive final sector. Roller now heads into the pits. That should be Aries behind him also heading in, as we got Natsume coming to the line now as well. See what he can do. He's coming towards the line. It's a 109.0, and that'll put him ahead of Alu, but it won't get him any further. He needs to get himself in the 108 sooner rather than later. Let's have a look. Bloodwave to the line now is good enough for provisional pole by quite some distance. A 108.3, and I was blatantly wrong. A 108.2 there from BR4. Now jumps Bloodwave as BR4 now hits the top of the pack. And then Menley's at 108.5 as well. That's incredible. 3 people overtaking Mitchell pretty much immediately. Mitchell now on an outlap. Nakusta's just come out to try and have a run at this. We got people all over the place at the moment. Let's see if Mitchell can get himself that 3/4 of a second back that he needs. The BR4 just chunked out of him in this qualifying session. BR4 currently on a 108.2, currently enough for provisional pole, less than a tenth though. Split him and Bloodwave. Menley's in third, just shy of a tenth ahead of Mitchell here. Mitchell just shy of a tenth quicker in the first sector. He's going to have to find more than that in these second and third sectors in order to actually find a way through toward the front of the grid here. Bear in mind, everyone is going to have a good run later on, a final run on this circuit. He's going around the final couple of corners now. He needs to really get something going in the final couple of sectors just to get onto that provisional pole if he can do it. Bear in mind, Mitchell is a 2-time champion on this game, and it's not enough through this run in qualifying. He got himself to a 108.3, but it's not quicker than Bloodwave or BR4. Only good enough for third in that Ferrari at the moment. We'll go to see what Nakuza is doing in the first couple of sectors here. He goes to the line now. Nakuza, is he going to be able to get a good place? Nope. He's going to sit in 13th for a 109.6. He needs to find a ton of time on that. Over an entire second back on pole position. Needs to put 2 and 2 together apparently at the moment, but not really coming up with anything at this point in time. Is Nakuza on his first run. A couple of people out on that lap, so on their flying laps now, as we've got with Roller on the screen. A 109.4 at the moment. Needs to find a ton of time. He's not finding any of it in the first sector. Not finding any of it in the first sector. He's a 10th and a half down. He's currently 5 thousandths off of Alu in terms of best time, but if he wants to move further than 9th, he's got even further than 10th. He's got to find a stupid amount of time in this second sector. And he's going to go round. He has found a decent chunk of time. 2.5 tenths there for Roller. He's up by just over a tenth. That'll move him up into 9th as it stands. See if he can find anything else in the final sector as well. And maybe move him up into the top 8. If he can get himself into the 108s, he'd be happy, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's only good enough for 109.2. And that'll move him up into 9th ahead of Alu, but not much further. Menley is currently on a flying lap now. 2:27 left on the clock. People should start heading out for their final flying laps in this qualifying session sooner rather than later. They're going through. It looks like Menley just dropped a pretty good first sector. We'll see whether or not this is going to be something that Menley can improve on. If he can improve, maybe a front row is sitting for him here. The first group, the top 3 need to get out really quickly here. They're seemingly running out of time. Menley's only up by 1/4 of a tenth, and that realistically isn't going to do him any favours whatsoever. Only it'll keep him in 4th. It'll strengthen it just a little bit, but he realistically needs to find a ton more time than that. And he isn't going to. That did not look like a great time into the final corner, and yep, he backed out of it. That is not good news there for Menley's, and Roller is now heading into the pit, so that will signify the end of his qualifying session. Going through, Natsume, the next one to the line. Everyone is currently on outlaps, but once they go off their outlaps, they'll be on their final runs. We'll go down now. We're looking at Natsume, who's just ever so slightly quicker. Not quick enough right now to get out of the 109, so that will stick him squarely in 8th for the moment in time. Whether or not he can get himself an improvement in this second sector, we'll see sooner rather than later. He needs to find a couple of attempts into the 108s at the very least, just to make himself a solid contender for the top 8. And he's found himself an extra couple of attempts. There's 2 attempts on the board here, so he is right beside Staber now. If he can get an improvement on this final sector, he should be able to jump Staber. And he's going around the final corner now. The 2 Red Bulls directly in front of him, using a little bit of slipstream. And there goes Natsume into a 108.6. Up into 5th. It's a good lap from him. Aries is out of the session. And that is not good news to him. We're currently watching one of the Williams up to the line, and that is not a good enough improvement there for Alu. He is going to be stuck where he is right now. Benny overtakes him up into 9th. Let's see what the next one to the line is. Is that Staber? That is Staber, who's gone quicker. And Staber, 108.6, is now up into the top 5. Oh, we got a AlphaTauri, the next one to the line. He currently is just shy of half a tenth up. That would be enough to take to 9th, but that was about it. And that's all he is going to get. Now to the Alfa Romeos. BR4, the next one to the line, is up by a tenth. Can he do it? He has improved his time to a 108.1. Bloodwave only to a 108.2, and Mitchell to a 108.2 as well, and takes the front row off of Bloodwave there. Manley's is out of time. Natsume's already done his lap. And Nakusa has invalidated, so he'll rear the end of the pack here. So, BR4 on pole. Mitchell lining the front row with him. A very, very familiar pairing we've seen in this league for F1 in this game. F123 has been very kind to the both of them. Bloodwave currently sits in third with Menlid in fourth. Those two will sit on the second row. Staber in fifth. Natsume in sixth. They'll sit on the third row. The fourth row is your Mercedes, Aries, and I believe championship leader through the first couple, Stell, who's only good enough for eighth in this qualifying session. So a lot to unpack in that first session. There's a lot of improvements going throughout the entire thing. Needs to figure out what is going to happen here with Stell. Stell needs to find a path toward the front. He needs to find it quickly. You got Mildy in 9th and Benny in 10th that round out the top 10 in the 5th row. Then you got Rollo and Alu in 11th and 12th with Nakusa at the bottom of the grid. Oh, so we're just now waiting for the race to actually start. Go ahead and get on with that. Should be pretty interesting. Oh, it's pretty heavily raining. Nonetheless, look at that. We've got intermediate tires for certain at the start of this one. We're just waiting for a couple of people to pick setups and strategy and things like that now, considering we've got a very, very, that's a lot of rain coming down. There's 5 red lights. It's lights out, away we go here in the Netherlands. It looks like BR4 has come over to try and cut that off really quickly. And we got a little bit of contact through turn 1 and 2. Cars are already in the wall. I think that's Alu and Benny. And they are both already in the wall as we go into turn 4 now. BR4 from Bloodwave from Mitchell. Mitchell did not get off to a good start in this one whatsoever. We're going through the first lap here, everyone seemingly close to each other. And it looks like Stell has also got up a place or two with Staber and Mildy fighting in the background. Those two are going side by side into the end of the second sector. Almost a little bit of contact there between Staber and Mildy. That looked like it unsettled Mildy's car for a split second. And if it did, well, Staber's managed to use it again in front. We're going through into the end of the first lap. The front 4 split. They're starting to split from the rest of the pack. Then you've got with Aries in 5th, Stell in 6th. So Stell needs to start making his way forward because he is usually very good in the wet conditions. And we're going through here into the beginning of lap 2. We've got Staber trying to hang on to the back of Stell, who's trying to hold on to the back of the Mercedes, who's lost ground significantly here. The Menleys, who's currently in 4th. Mitchell in third is doing enough to hang on to Bloodwave, who's holding on to BL4 for the lead of the race as well. At the back of the grid, Benny is at the complete rear of the field after his turn 1 incident with Alu. Alu actually holding on against Roller in the process. It looks like Staber may have just had a bit of an issue there, a bit too deep. It looks like Mildy's going to go by, and now they're going to scrap again. Mildy on the outside here should have a good line, and will have a great line to hold on to that position down through the end of the second sector here. The Staber's got one hell of a run. Can he get alongside? No, he cannot. The fact that he couldn't get alongside, it means that he's going to have to stick behind Mildy for a little while longer. After Mildy overtook him at the beginning of the lap, he also got Natsume, who's trying to rear his head into this pack now. Has managed to get an invitation to get into a battle with Staber. Now to the inside. Can he get it done? Natsume on the inside of Staber. Those two have come together now. But it looks like they've both managed to make it through turn 1. It's Staber that holds on to the position. We're going through turn 4 with Stell and Aries side by side. Stell getting a little bit wobbly on the exit, and that should hand that position back to Aries. Those two are going back and forth. Aries just not able to capitalize on it just yet. Runs a little bit deep through to the beginning of sector 2, and a little bit kicking up the gravel and the grass as well, and that will definitely allow for Stell to just waltz on through here. At the beginning of this race, up in the 5th, I think Aries might be a bit of a under fire a little bit here now from Mildy as well, as Mildy looks a little bit of a switchback. And it looks like he's going to look to the inside here. Is he going to brake late? He is going to brake late. They're going to come to the side by side through the beginning of sector 3, and Mildy is just not able to be side by side for long enough for it to matter. Harry's doing just about enough right now to hold him off. And it looks like Mildy is just holding to the lower line as long as he possibly can. It's seemingly working out for him right now as well. Here comes Mildy to the inside now of Aries. Aries looking deep, going very deep. Now he's going to have one hell of a run. Otherwise, Mildy just going to take that position off him like that through turn 1. And Mildy is now up to 6th position with Staber also joining the back of these two now as well. Natsume also in the picture. The front 4 still together. Still a significant way off the back of that front 4 pack. Kind of driving in no man's land right now as well. Mildy about 2 seconds off the back of him as well. There he goes deep again, trying to hold onto the back, maybe make a move or two, return fire on Mildy. Is just not able to work right now. If anything, it's costing him more time than it's gaining him. He's got to get himself on a roll sooner rather than later here. Looks like Aries is still hanging on against, Aries is still trying to pounce here on Mildy, who's doing just about enough to hang on. Staber's dropped off the back a little bit here with Natsume not that far behind him. I think Menling's has also started to drop off the back of the leading pack. Outside of that 1 second gap, albeit there's not really much of an issue that's there at the moment, given that 1 second doesn't really mean an awful lot. Aries getting a little bit sideways there in the beginning of the second sector. He's done just pretty well, if anything, there to manage to hold on to the car, never mind hold on to the position as well. Now he's going to be Staber and Natsume is going to be rattling that Mercedes, not the Mercedes battling Mildy. It looks like we're going to continue through. Natsume hanging on the back of Staber. Staber's lost a little bit of a gap now. But at the front, Bloodwave is starting to head really close now. We're getting really close to BR4 at the front. Mitchell is also now off the back of this front two. Just outside of that second margin. Bloodwave doing a really good job of holding on to the back of that Alfa Romeo right now. And as soon as we go off of the back of the grid, there is a crash. And it looks like it's Benny Bono again. Having a day to forget at turn 1 here in the Netherlands. Never a good sight to see a mistake or two like that from someone who is usually pretty consistent, pretty accurate in terms of how he works. It's just not one of the, it's just one of those days here for Benny. So Stell also trying to get himself involved in the middle pack now. You see the Alpine trying to get onto the back of that Red Bull, fighting for 4th right now. Mitchell also back within a second at the lead at the front. Let's see whether or not Bloodwave can hang on as well as we head down toward turn 1. It looks like we are very, very light right now. We are heading in the direction of a dry track at some point in this race. There's no way this is significantly less rain than what we started with. We will go dry at some point. That's when the real pace of certain people will start to show. That's also when the DRS will start to become important as well. So we'll see what can, in fact, what will unfold here. Because it looks like we're actually done with the rain as a whole. It has, in fact, stopped raining now here in the Netherlands, and wow, that means we're 7 laps through. We will go dry at some point. I'm gonna put bets on probably lap 10 here, where the time we go dry. As you can see, the dry line starting to form as BR4 having a bit of an issue there, sliding his car through the beginning of sector 3, almost catastrophic there from the leading driver. Very clearly a sign that we're not quite ready for the dry tyre yet. We got a 3 cars at the front here fighting it out. Stell's also got really close now to Menley's in 4th. So we got a little bit of a battle unfolding there as we're starting to go dry. It's just a real question here, is who's going to take the gamble? Who's going to take the gamble of going in 1 lap early and trying to make their way, try and make it stick? Because you got a dry line, a very, very visible dry line now, starting to form on this track. Bloodwave goes very deep there into the final corner of sector 2, and he needs to avoid doing that as much as possible, especially when you've got a former champion on either side of his car right now. It looks like Stell walked into the day as the leader on the championship. He might not be walking out the leader of the championship. You got Bloodwave there as well. He was second in the championship league coming into the day. Mitchell and BR4 were 3rd and 4th respectively. We'll see whether or not they can start to kick into the gap just a little bit. Right now, Stell doesn't really pose any sort of threat to this front 3. At the moment, he's just about posing a threat to Menley in 4th. We got Bloodwave who's starting to pull back in again. Now it's 6/10. It's very close between the front 3. It's about 1.1 seconds splitting all 3 cars, as we are now seeing a very, very visible dry line starting to form, especially these parts of the track. BL4 again sliding the car. He's just getting away with a little bit of an oversteer issue now. still not under threat right now, but it's not the most comfortable I've ever seen BR4 drive. I'll give him that much. He's somehow holding the other two cars in this train at bay though. 4.4 seconds splits Mitchell and Menley, so there's not really much for the rest of the group, for these three to worry about from the rest of the grid right now. Castell just cannot get by. He needs to get by somewhat soon. Looks like Stell might be on a little bit of a roll now. Let's see if he can get something going here. As we head through turn 2, Staber's got 5 seconds speed in the pit lane. Staber's going to be the one that takes just a little bit of a gamble here. I can only assume that there's going to be oh, it's a medium tyre. I thought it would be a hard tyre going on that Williams, given that we still have 26 laps of the race left. 27 laps even. For Saber. Don't know if those mediums are going to go that long. Maybe already banking on a safety car here, Saber. We got these two still going at it. Still not close enough. Can definitely tell though, we are starting to dry up. There is still a little bit of dampness on this track, and still it's in the wall. Oh, in the dirt, yeah, it just lost it on the traction there. And that is unfortunate for the Alpine, who just gets it all wrong on the exit there, and now into the pits he goes. So whether or not he was planning on an early pit stop, it's been forced, and the championship leader makes a mistake. His medium tyres going on the blue Alpine. We were figuring out whether or not Staber was starting to pull in, and or a gap. Maybe those medium tyres were going to work earlier than we expect. Well, it's not going to be a choice now for Stell, and Alu also heads in as well. So, let's see if Staber is able to start pulling in some time on the guys in front of him. Benny is ahead of Roller right now, which is impressive given that Benny has now spanned twice. He's the only other one within a second. The rest of the grid outside of the front three. Front three have been relatively close the entire way through. We're on lap 11 now. So I'm very intrigued at how these medium tyres are going to last. It looked like Benny was trying against Nakuda here. Can he get it against Nakuda? No, he cannot. Nakuda doing just about enough, and then he goes into the gravel, and Nakuda is round. And that is not good news for that Red Bull. That'll allow Benny and for Roller to just waltz on through. His tyres are going to be absolutely screaming as well, given the fact that he's just gone up into the gravel there at the final couple of corners, so we'll figure it out. Still can't actually tell if Staber is in fact quicker, because everyone around him is actually starting to crash. He is 6.5 seconds ahead of Stell right now. DRS has now been enabled, so yes, the answer is almost certainly yes. Staber's mediums are now quicker than the rest of the grid. We'll see whether or not there's going to be enough time for him to start closing that gap on everyone around him, who still has to pit. BR4 has managed to break away from Bloodwave just a little bit, as everyone is now going to start darting for the pit lane, unless you're Bloodwave, who apparently didn't see that the DRS has been enabled message pop up, because that is usually the universal sign of a pit stop. Milty picks up 5 seconds of speed in the pit lane. Hard to go on both BR4 and Mitchell's car, which is interesting. Menley's for the medium tyre, which now makes me beg the question of whether or not those mediums can go long enough for no more pit stops, because it is clear that Mitchell and BR4 and Mildy are going to the end. Benny picks up 5 for speed in the pit lane. quite frankly, no attempt whatsoever to get slowed down. So, Staber going around turn 1, managed to get in front of a few guys here. And now also comes out directly behind Aries, which is exactly where he would have wanted to be. He was there in the first place, but now significantly close to the guy who was in front of him at that point. It looks like we've got a few interesting battles developing here, I think. You got Nakuzu still out on his tyres. Bloodwave had pitted. He went in a lot later than everyone else, so he might be screwed. We'll see whether or not that's going to be the case. Here comes Aries on Nakuzu, and it's very clear to see what's the better tyre now, and that is those slick tyres. And there goes the inside for Staber, who just picked his hole and saw an opportunity and made it work. What a move. What a move to pick the hole and just blast on through. And there goes Mitchell against Bloodwave. Mitchell on the inside, at the bottom of the banking, and he's going to make that look easy. Bloodwave's gone on to medium tyres. He's going to try and make those go to the end. Still up another couple of positions as well. He's up into 8th at the moment. Hard for Nakuzu and Natsume. Looks like Nakuzu is going to be the one that drops to the back of the grid as a result of all this as well. And he is. Sazalu going through turn 1 now, so he is in the back of the grid. Natsume came in and out ahead of Benny Bono and picked up 5 for speed in the pit lane. We've got a couple of people with penalties. Staber, I believe, is Staber, Mildy and Benny are all 5-second penalties. They are all 5-second penalties, so they may get served if we find a safety car in the next 20-ish laps. So BR4 blasting away from Mitchell now. In the distance, you can see there. There's 1.6 seconds that split the two. Menley's currently had the fastest lap of the entire race so far. It's about 3 tenths quicker than Mitchell on the prior lap. It's 15.4 there for Aries now. That's the fastest lap of the race. As all the medium tyres are starting to just filter their way through now. Mitchell is closing in on BR4 rather rapidly. It's about 4 tenths of a second in this one lap alone. We'll see whether or not this is going to come into effect right now. Whether or not Mitchell might be able to get within DRS at some point. With a very quick Bloodwave right on the back of him. He's managed to close in 6 tenths of a second this lap. And DRS should be available to him now. And DRS will be enabled to Mitchell here in the final couple of corners. And the DRS has just been opened for the first time in this race. And now he should be able to tank that time. He should get really close to the lead of this race now. Here comes Bloodwave as well, who's going to the outside against Mitchell, who's now boxed in. He's got BR4 directly in front of him. Now they're going to go side by side through 2, now 3, and Mitchell holds on just a little bit longer. Bloodwave trying to make something work, but not able to do it right now. As the front 3 are now back in business. Just in a different order. Everyone else on the grid, no DRS whatsoever. Everyone extremely separated at this point, apart from the front 3. So this is where most of our battles, our entertainment is going to come from, I think. As Bloodwave is trying his best to just hang on to the back of that Ferrari. He's just got another help in a DRS, so it's not going to help here for Bloodwave. As Mitchell is now starting to close in the gap again on BR4. We head through the final couple of corners on the lap here. Third from the last, now second of the last, with DRS about to open now. So it's about 4 tenths of a second with the entire straight to go. Can Mitchell use the slipstream and the DRS here to pull alongside and maybe even in front of BR4 here? He's going to go to the outside, loops around the outside here against the Alfa Romeo of BR4. They're still side by side through 2. And now into 3 as Mitchell uses the inside line on 4 to get himself into the lead of the race momentarily, as BR4 with a great run is able to snatch that back almost immediately. The top 3 split by just over 0.3 of a second. Absolute tooth and nail fighting here from the front 3. The rest of the grid doing their own thing at the moment. BR4 right now has control of the race, but it's not very good control of the race. He's definitely about to come under fire, probably for the first time in this one as well, given the fact that it started raining and the rain obviously hampered the ability to overtake. It's about 0.3 now. There's a lot closer than he was the corner before. Can Mitchell use the DRS as a slipstream to make something work here? We might be going 3 wide. We've got a virtual safety car. And that is just going to dampen the race a little bit. We were looking to have a 3 wide into turn 1. And by a 3 wide into turn 1, that's not going to happen now. That virtual safety car is just going to absolutely kill the momentum of the race. As Bloodwave did hit the lead down into turn 1 as that BSC was called. Mitchell got into second and BR4, the big loser out of all of that, all the way down in third now. I'm not entirely sure who just got caught sleeping a little bit there. The good news for Staber is there goes the penalty, as he now comes out back in front of Stell, as all the gap has been disappeared. Roller comes out now in front of the crew behind him. Then he's going to sit for the 5 seconds as well now, as he now comes out significantly ahead of Alu, I think. Yeah, DRS has now been enabled again. So we are off once again in this race. Bloodwave from Mitchell from BR4. And then we've also got a bit of a battle going on behind. 8th, 9th and 10th are involved in a battle for 8th. With Roller, Staber, and Stell. Stell needs all the points he can get right now, as Bloodwave is now going to set off and try and break the toe. Mitchell's not going to care because he's got the slipstream and well, he doesn't have the slipstream now, but he had the DRS to actually make something stickier. And we're going through in lap 19 of 36. We've had a virtual safety car. We've had a ton of the rain. Let's see if we've got any more drama to add to this as we go along in this race. Staber gets out of Roller. And I think 3 wide here, or a 3-way battle at the very least. Stell comes out on top of. Stell up into 8th. God, he needed those places. He gets past both Staber and Roller in a single corner. And we're going to continue watching these guys, these two fighting it out right now. They're starting to clear Roller with a reckless abandon right now. And then make this a 2-horse battle between Staber and Stell for 8th place, as they need to start hunting down areas. And then Natsume in front of that.
Capacity of just over 100,000 on his scheduled debut in 2020, reported that over 1 million fans.
We've got also the front 3 still relatively close to each other as well. Natsume is charging down Menlid as well. So we've got a few people who are trying to sort things out at the moment. Here comes Stell to the inside. Here comes Staber to the inside of Stell, moreover. And Staber's going to get by against Stell, and Stell's horrible day continues, as he is trying to get himself on a roll here. Trying to pick up as many points as he can get. Right now, it's not an awful lot. It will allow for Mitchell and Bloodwave and company to start just edging into the gap at the top of the championship right now. Well, it's like 3 or 4 guys are currently in a battle right now. The one we're currently watching, Stel versus Staber. I would say I'd fancy Staber, but we're not. We have learned that we are in the business of not counting anybody out before we absolutely have to this time. It looks like we're just rolling through at the moment. We're still going through. We're on lap 21 of 36 now. We've got a penalty for Mildy that still needs to be served at some point or added to his race total at the end, but he is considerably quicker. Well, considerably ahead of Menley's right now, so I don't think it really matters in terms of that 5-second time penalty. It doesn't do anything that would be able to harm him, especially when that, especially when it's about 13 seconds the gap. We're still going through. Stel's still on the back of Staber right now. These two know each other very well. We'll see whether or not things are going to continue on in this race between the two of these guys. We've got a battle between Menley and Natsume, which we're going to take a very quick look at as we head up the grid toward the front of the grid now. So, Bloodwave in the lead of this race by a decent chunk of time. Mitchell in second, BR4 in third. We're just trying to figure out a jostle for positions right now. The DRS is still a thing, which Mitchell should be trying to use as much as humanly possible. Here comes Mitchell to the inside. I love the inside of that banking. I don't know if it's necessarily the quickest way to do that banking, but it is nonetheless a very nice, satisfying way of doing the banking, getting as low as humanly possible. So we've lost one member from the DRS club. Natsume is that member. It's dropped to 1.3 seconds behind Menley's. Isn't really making a dent right now. It looks like we've got a few battles starting to brew. The use of DRS could be very interesting at the front of the grid. We're technically on round 3, even though I labelled it round 4, because Australia was was rescheduled for for a week at the end of this season. It looks like we're going through the first couple of corners, the final couple of corners, sector 2 on this lap now. On lap 24, everything is still as they were from the pit stops here. Bloodwave leading out Mitchell from BR4 in third. Well, and then the healthiest gap that's ever been formed, heading toward the heading from 4th backwards. They're still going through. Mitchell still trying to chase down Bloodwave now with the DRS down the home straight again. The only other battle that's going on the track right now outside of this front 3 is Stel versus Staber for the 35th time so far this race. Everyone else considerably outside of the margin. Mildy is pit. Mildy is pit here on 25. He should have gone to the end. Worst thing that could have happened, and Mildy's out! Mildy is out of the race! But why? The AlphaTauri's out of the race. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. We're now down a driver, and everyone else is loving the fact that that has happened. Got a couple of extra people at the back there looking at a chance of points, and Mildy had a giant chance there and decided to pass it up, decided to quit out. I'm not very intrigued at what just happened there. Bloodwave is now in the pits now as well, and it doesn't look like his medium tyres has gone very far. This is extremely interesting now. 2-stop for Bloodwave. Mildy just DNF. No one else is going to follow that 2-stop. If I'm Mitchell and I'm BR4, I'm not even going to bother trying to pit for that. Try and cover that off because it's only 10 laps. Bloodwave now has to be 1.7 seconds a lap quicker to catch back up. And that is not including overtaking. There's no way he's going to manage that. He has got 10 laps now, Bloodwave. And this is going to have to be one hell of a charge. I don't think it's a charge he has in him. On the outlap, he's managed to take 6/10, but 6/10 is not remotely enough. From every lap that goes by, the higher the chance that it just isn't going to happen here for Bloodwave. I mean, he had the chance. He didn't have to pit, I don't think. Maybe the tires were maybe the tires were screaming at him a little bit. But that is still quite an interesting decision to make, and certainly say it's not one I would have made. Wow. That is incredible. There we go again. So Mitchell and BR4, we've had this battle before. We've had this battle significantly before. It's been multiple titles now that has been separated between the two of these guys. They're currently 3 on this game alone between them. Bloodwave to the 1:10.8. We'll just have to take a quick look at Mitchell's next lap, see what is the actual difference between them. There's a virtual safety car, so you can chalk some of that time away for Bloodwave. And that is not good news. Natsume has come out. He is getting 5 seconds of speed in the pit lane. And he's got no front wing. Natsume's out. Natsume is out of the race. Is there any, not a front wing in front of Saber, so he's fine. Stell's out as well. Roller's come in. Still doesn't look like there's any damage to the front of his car either. But Natsume is out of the